In this video, I'm sharing with you about the fourth layer of the 5-element chirology system of how to read hands, which is the air element layer, and how air weaves its way through the experience of being a reader and receiving a hand reading. I'm Jennifer. I'm a Johannesburg-based chirology and palmistry practitioner and teacher and author of 4 books about the subject. I've been doing this work for almost 30 years, and if you haven't met me before, welcome to my channel. So in chirology's 5-element system of how to read hands, air is representative of the principle I think. I mentioned before in the previous videos how earth is to do with your physical, water is to do with your emotional, fire to do with vocational, and air to do with mental. So I think is our primary principle that we relate to the air element. And as in this image I'm showing you here, it is the 4th tier and it's represented by a cup, and the color that we choose for air is green. Now this image has no bearing on the chakras, so I just want to make sure you understand this has got nothing whatsoever to do with chakras. It's simply represented in the model of the person sitting in the lotus position as a way to represent that of which we are composed. We are composed of the elements, therefore this illustration. I came up with an analogy for the hand reading experience. And the idea is that it's kind of like a weaving. And we have the loom, which is the earth element, that around which everything is structured. We have the water area, which is the texture of the experience, especially the emotional texture. We have the fire area, which has to do with the courage, the volition, the enthusiasm really that you bring to your work as a hand reader. And then on the air level, it is the design. It's how we design the experience for the person. And a lot of this links into vocabulary. And the vocabulary is based in what we call the language of the elements. And altogether, everything to do with communication is in fact air governed. So vocabulary is key. You know, a lot of people, when they bump into hand readers, they say, oh, you've just got the gift of the gab. Well, yes, we have. We need the gift of the gab. It's really very important. So the air element plays out very strongly in the way we deliver, in the way we design the experience for the receiving client. Air has many principles associated. These, again, are scientific, such as pervasiveness, invisibility, dispersion, detachment, and so on. So immediately, if we think about, say, a word like detachment, is, in other words, air is not attached to anything in a tangible sense, but we then take a person with many air qualities in their hands, and we'll see that they are quite likely to be quite detached people, like emotionally detached, hard to reach, perhaps disassociated, unemotional, and so on, and the list goes on. So this is what we call the language of the elements, using all these scientific principles and their characteristics, then mapping them over, in other words, the known, which is the elements, and mapping it over onto the unknown, which is the person. So to learn hands with the 5-element system, we learn the vocabulary, and we simultaneously are looking at the morphology of the hand, in other words, the shape, structure, and form of the hand. And we see that an air-shaped hand has a square palm with long fingers. You can see in this illustration now I will be talking much more in depth about each of these archetypes. In other words, we've got the air person, the water person, the fire person, the earth person, and each of that is really a topic in itself. And of course, over and above the archetype, we'll be looking into, when we're studying the hands, that is, we'll be looking into the skin texture, the air skin, which is a smooth, dry skin. We look at which lines are governed by air, which finger, and so on. So each area of the hand is governed by a different element. Air in chirology, in this particular 5-element system, really is a sort of an umbrella for, or governing area of how you communicate, how you listen, how you hold space for the person, your vocabulary, of course, which ties into your communication, your extent of your analysis and research, those are air-governed terminologies, the question of being very observant, also not being prejudiced, being impartial, very important, all the research that you do, and lastly, perhaps I could add in whether or not you choose to record the reading. As a hand reader of so many years, I personally do record my readings. I like to give my clients a recording to go home with. I know myself from all the times I've been to see various readers and therapists, it's almost impossible to remember everything for me. So it's very good to be able to revisit, even in years to follow. I've had feedback from my clients. I said, came to see you 5 years ago and you said X, Y, and Z, and it's all manifested. So this is a nice sort of adjunct. It's a nice positive thing to offer your client. But then on the other hand, you also get readers who don't like to give recordings, like to keep it in the moment. So that would be entirely at your own discretion. But the recording device, being a technology device, would be governed by the air element. That's it for this week. Next time I will be talking about the chi aspect of hand reading, what I call chi, which is the spiritual and undefined, the invisible aspect of our work, everything to do with intuition. Looking forward to that chat. See you soon. Oh, and please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Bye for now.